You don't feel broken. You feel unfamiliar to yourself. You remember who you used to be, clearer, sharper, certain. But now, when you reach for that version, your hand closes around empty air. You're not lost in chaos. You're lost in between. And that space, that quiet gap, is where something important is happening. But it doesn't feel like growth. It feels like grief. You notice it in small moments. When an old song plays and it doesn't hit the same. When someone asks, "So, what are you into these days?" And your mind stalls. When you scroll past memories and feel affection for that person, but also distance. You haven't failed. You haven't collapsed. You're functioning, showing up, doing what needs to be done. But internally, your sense of who you are feels thinner, less solid, less named. This changes how you decide things. You hesitate longer. You second-guess choices that used to feel obvious. You say yes when you mean maybe. You say nothing when you mean no. In relationships, you feel harder to read, even to yourself. You explain less. You withdraw more. Not because you don't care, but because you don't have the language anymore. Your self-talk changes too. Instead of "I want," it becomes "I guess." Instead of "this matters to me," it becomes "it's fine." Psychologically, this often aligns with a specific pattern, identity diffusion. Not a crisis with fireworks. A slow, quiet loosening. And here's the unsettling part. Your brain doesn't experience this as neutral change. It experiences it as loss. But why would outgrowing something feel like grief? That question matters more than it seems. Let's name something gently. You are not disconnected because you failed to evolve. You are disconnected because you did. The brain is designed to build identity through repetition. Roles you played, stories you told yourself, feedback you received again and again. When those patterns dissolve even for good reasons, the brain doesn't immediately celebrate. It pauses. Because from a neurological perspective, identity equals predictability. Predictability equals safety. So when an old version of you no longer fits, your nervous system doesn't say, growth. It says, something familiar is gone. This isn't dysfunction. It's adaptation lag. Your mind is updating faster than your emotional circuitry can follow. And in that gap, you feel untethered, not broken, unlabeled, which leads to the real tension. How do you move forward when the old map no longer works? And the new one hasn't drawn itself yet? The old map no longer works, and the new one hasn't drawn itself yet. Here's what's happening under the surface. The brain organizes identity using something called self-schemas. Think of them as mental folders. I'm the reliable one. I'm the ambitious one. I'm the creative one. Each folder holds memories, habits, expectations. Memories, habits, expectations. When life changes through burnout, growth, disillusionment, or awakening, some folders stop matching reality. But the brain doesn't delete them instantly. Instead, it does something uncomfortable. It suspends them. This creates cognitive dissonance. Your experiences no longer confirm your old identity, but you don't yet have enough data to form a new one. So the brain enters a liminal state, a psychological waiting room. Imagine your identity as a house. You've outgrown several rooms, so you start renovating. But during renovation, the walls are down, the furniture is gone, and nothing feels settled. You're not homeless, but you're not comfortable either. And the brain hates this phase because it can't predict outcomes, which is why you feel more tired, less decisive, emotionally flat, or quietly sad. This isn't weakness. It's the cost of reorganization. The question isn't, how do I go back? It's, how do I move through without rushing? That's where the framework begins. This isn't about reinventing yourself overnight. It's about working with the brain instead of against it. Step 1, name the loss without judging it. Privately acknowledge what versions of you are gone. Not dramatically, specifically. I no longer feel like the driven achiever. I don't relate to that social version anymore. The brain processes unnamed change as threat. Labeling converts emotional noise into manageable data. Labeling converts emotional noise into manageable data. This engages the prefrontal cortex, which reduces limbic uncertainty. Engages the prefrontal cortex. The nervous system relaxes when the loss is recognized. Instead of saying, "I don't know what's wrong with me," you write, "I'm grieving the certainty I used to have." The nervous system relaxes when the loss is recognized. Body posture softens. But naming isn't enough. Something else has to replace constant analysis. That's where the framework begins. Step 2. Reduce identity pressure. Increase identity sampling. Stop asking, "Who am I now?" Start asking, "What feels slightly alive lately?" Low stakes, no labels. Low stakes, no labels. Identity forms through behavioral evidence, not introspection alone. The brain updates self-concept after repeated action feedback loops. Action feedback loops. Action feedback loops. You notice you enjoy quiet mornings more than late nights now. You don't call yourself a morning person. You just notice. You don't call yourself a morning person. You just notice. You just notice. This removes performance anxiety from identity formation. This removes performance anxiety from identity formation. But observation needs containment. Step 3. Build a temporary self on purpose. Create a provisional identity. Something like, "For now, I'm someone exploring what matters next." Exploring what matters next. The brain needs a narrative anchor. Temporary stories stabilize uncertainty. Temporary stories stabilize uncertainty without locking you in. This reduces cortisol associated with ambiguity. Reduces cortisol associated with ambiguity. When someone asks what you're doing these days, you don't over-explain. You say, "I'm in a transition phase." And you let that be true. Still, emotion lingers. That's because identity grief lives in the body. Identity grief lives in the body. Step 4. Let the body grieve what the mind outgrew. Notice where the sadness sits physically. Chest, throat, gut. Don't analyze. Just stay present. Stay present. Unprocessed identity loss activates somatic memory. Gentle attention allows completion of stress cycles. Completion of stress cycles. Unprocessed identity loss activates somatic memory. Gentle attention allows completion of stress cycles. You feel heavy after seeing an old friend. Instead of scrolling it away, you sit with it for 90 seconds. The feeling passes without explanation. Finally, integration needs patience. Patience. Integration needs patience. Step 5. Delay meaning until patterns emerge. Resist the urge to define yourself too early. Collect moments. Wait for repetition. The brain forms stable identity only after consistent behavioral patterns appear. Premature labeling increases anxiety. You don't say, "I'm a different person now." You say, "I'm noticing what repeats." That's enough. Here's the model to keep. Identity isn't a destination. It's a feedback loop. Experience emotion, meaning, action experience. Right now, you're between emotion and meaning. That space feels empty because it's unfinished, not because it's wrong. Your job isn't to fill it with certainty. It's to stay present long enough for truth to settle. It's to stay present long enough for truth to settle. This is what mature identity formation looks like. Quiet, unbranded, patient. Patient identity formation. There's a version of you that only exists on the other side of this pause. Not louder, not more impressive, just more honest. You don't have to rush toward them. They're forming while you're breathing. Forming while you're breathing. And one day soon, you'll realize you didn't lose yourself. You made room. You made room.